Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, everything that you need to know heading into night one of the NFL draft, because Eagles draft rumors are scorching hot right now. And speaking of the first round, right here on the channel, we're going to be going live for the entire first round. Our coverage begins an hour before the draft begins at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on those notifications and join us because we have so many great Super Chat giveaways for you, and it's going to be an absolute blast because I'm fascinated to see what Howie Roseman and this organization does. Ian Rappaport reported earlier today that this is one of those drafts that's very rare where nobody knows what's going to transpire. And if you are subscribed to the show and you're going to join us tonight on Eagles Now, give me a real one down below because I want to see all the real ones joining us tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. So we're going to go through everything from my final mock draft, Mel Kiper's final mock draft, and then all of the reporting that's going on pertaining to the Birds. According to James Palmer, NFL Network, Howie Roseman has made calls about moving up in tonight's first round. They could package number 30 in an effort to move up with a team like the Las Vegas Raiders, which we talked about on yesterday's show. And according to Palmer, the Eagles have been really impressed with Ohio State offensive tackle Paris Johnson. Here's what Palmer had to say about the former Buckeye. To Johnson and the traits that he has, what I'm told by multiple people around the league is this: they're just special. The bend, the ability to move at 6'6", 313 pounds, those are traits that are rare. He could play right guard tomorrow and then eventually be their next left tackle for the next decade. Of course, Jordan Mailata on the team right now, but Philadelphia did lose Isaac Seumalo to a lucrative contract to the Pittsburgh Steelers cross-state in NFL free agency. This is why Paris Johnson would make a lot of sense to the Philadelphia Eagles, whether they stay put at 10 or they move up. Howie Roseman and the Eagles, as we know, love prioritizing the offensive line and the defensive line. Their draft and team building philosophy build the team from inside out. It makes sense. You get your quarterback, you protect your quarterback, then you attack the opposing quarterback in today's pass-happy NFL. This would be a totally on-brand pick for the Philadelphia Eagles to either go with Paris Johnson on a trade-up or Peter Skoronski, the Northwestern guard tackle hybrid, because he could step in right away and be a day one starter like Paris Johnson. As for Jeremy Fowler, talking about the Eagles not trading up, but trading back. Other teams that could have interest in trading back, it includes the Eagles at number 10. The Titans at number 11, Detroit Lions at number 18. The Eagles have only 6 picks and would not mind adding more if a move makes sense. That would also be on brand for Philadelphia because they really value draft capital and they don't have a lot of picks this year. Only 6, but next year, locked and loaded. Maybe they use some of next year's selections to try to maneuver up the draft board at some point in this draft. That's the trade back report, right? There's more buzz about the Eagles moving up. This one, too, coming from a very well-known NFL insider in Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. To me, what best defines this draft class is what's happening with the teams between 10 and 14, in order. Eagles, Titans, Texans, Packers, and the Patriots. I'm told all 5 of those teams have been making calls to teams about them trading up and down. And it's no coincidence that in a year when everyone seems to be looking to trade down, it's the group in that alley of picks that are looking both ways at this intersection of the draft. I will say this about the 2023 NFL draft, and it's provided great intrigue for me as a content creator, all of you. Nobody knows what the hell is going on in the 2023 NFL draft. Outside of the number 1 pick for the Carolina Panthers, in which I believe it's going to be Bryce Young, that would be my pick. I think he's the most polished quarterback in this draft class, the most pro-ready, and the most professional traits that translate from the college level to the pro level. Nobody knows what anybody is doing. Everybody has been very coy, and because of that, a lot of intrigue heading into night 1 of the NFL draft. Now let's shift gears to Bijan Robinson. Oh boy, the Ferrari. Is he making his way to the city of brotherly love? This is the pick that I would make if I was in the shoes of Howie Roseman. Mel Kiper making it as well. He has the Eagles taking the Texas product at number 10 overall in his final mock draft. Here's what Kiper had to say about Bijan, or should we call him Bijan? If the Eagles draft him, by the way, we have a surprise for you. To the Eagles at number 10. The Eagles might prefer to trade back, but why not take an elite runner and receiver who could help them win right now? It might go against the organization's philosophy to take a running back this high, but the fit is logical, whether it's at number 10 or a few spots later. If it's not Robinson, I thought about tackle/guard Peter Skoronski, who I also think would make a lot of sense to Philadelphia. He is just not the sexy pick. So, okay, overarching macro perspective for me. This is where I see things playing out. This is my read on the Philadelphia Eagles heading into night one with the draft just a couple of hours away. My read on the Eagles in the first round of the NFL draft tonight. I would take Bijan Robinson. I think he's a great scheme fit. He makes this offense better for an offense that was one of the best statistically in the NFL last year, and I think that offense wins in today's offensive-laden era. I do think that the Eagles are really going to try to move up to take Jalen Carter if he gets past the Seattle Seahawks at number 5. If the Eagles cannot move up for Jalen Carter and he's selected at number 5 and they decide to stay put at number 10, I think they go Peter Skoronski, guard tackle out of Northwestern, or I think they go edge rusher Nolan Smith out of Georgia. A trade back is also in the cards because the Eagles only have 6 of those first-round picks heading into tonight. That's my read on what the Eagles do heading into night one, Thursday, for the NFL draft. So, with that, today's poll question is this: who will the Eagles take at number 10? It's a great mystery. Drop me a name down below in the comment section. And I hope that you all join us tonight, and I hope you interact with me on Twitter and Instagram because myself, Trizzy Trace, we're going to be making it happen at Chase_Senior on Twitter and Instagram. Feel free to hit me up with some of your draft thoughts, what you think about the show, anything in life. I'm all about it. On our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, we will also be going live there, and I'll be there all throughout the weekend. So that's another incentive for you to subscribe. If you like me, if you hate me, you can tell me whatever. You like me, you hate me, whatever. You can hit me up or let me know on the airwaves on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. First round draft coverage starts Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern. Now here on Philadelphia Eagles, now of course, we will have the picks before anybody else does. That's another incentive for you to watch us and subscribe, but also on Chat Sports, we will know the picks before anybody, and we'll be live for every single round, every single selection, all 3 days of the NFL draft. Without further ado, my final mock draft heading into round one. Look, I think the Eagles go edge rusher here. There's so much buzz behind Philadelphia taking Nolan Smith, 10th overall, the edge rusher out of Georgia. And when Howie Roseman finds a couple of players who he really likes from the same college, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, I think he goes back to the well, and the Eagles need to get younger at that edge rusher spot. Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick. Average age going into this September of 29 years, 7 months. You get a player like Nolan Smith, who is of the build of Hassan Reddick. You get younger at that position, at a position that the Eagles really like to build their roster with. And because the Eagles pass up on Bijan Robinson here at 10, I think they go running back at number 30. And if it's a consolation prize to get Jahmyr Gibbs 30th overall, I think that's a fantastic selection. Reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara. And like Bijan Robinson, he can impact the game as a running back, but also as a receiver coming out of the backfield. Gibbs is a special player, and a lot of people believe that he is the better NFL running back than Bijan Robinson. Your first 2 picks, if you go Nolan Smith, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Jalen Carter, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Peter Skoronski, Jahmyr Gibbs. All of those, I think, are in play. That's a home run first round for Howie Roseman and this organization. Eagles not on the clock again until 62nd overall. They have a need at that safety position. They brought in Terrell Edmonds, but on a 1-year contract. They signed Justin Evans. 1-year contract. They have Reed Blankenship. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps, the latter two. They're starters last year. They need a safety. Jamie Robinson out of Florida State is an option here. I'm going Jordan Battle out of Alabama. Howie Roseman continues to draft players from two of the best programs in college football with guys who are ready to contribute right now and are heady and smart enough with the really high football IQ to join this organization for a team that just made it to the Super Bowl, and they can be day one impact players. At 91 overall, since the Eagles passed on offensive tackle in the first round, they go with a project in Jalen Duncan out of Maryland, who is seen by a lot of people, and myself included, as very raw. But he hops on board Jeff Stoutland University as Jeff Stoutland, Eagles offensive line coach, the best in the National Football League, and they get a project here who can be their future right tackle once Lane Johnson decides to move on and retire at some point, even after he signed that contract extension. Maybe he plays left tackle depending on what happens with Jordan Mailata, and in the meantime, over the next couple of years, maybe he can play guard. 219 overall. I'm not buying that Ian Book as this team's third-string quarterback after Jalen Hurts and Marcus Mariota. So the Eagles go with the quarterback who has a very similar skill set, or at least similar elements to that of Jalen Hurts and Marcus Mariota. They draft Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA to be their developmental backup quarterback who at some point down the road can maybe be a fringe or fill-in starter. Last selection for the Eagles, 248 overall. I think that they go best player available here like they do often here on the board. That is their draft philosophy. And they go with the guy who, yes, tore his Achilles 2 years ago, has a massive workload at the college level, but is a dog, is an excellent running back with so much production. He came off that torn Achilles, did Muhammad Ibrahim last year, and he ended up turning in a massive season where he was really, really impressive with his production. He is not much of a pass catcher out of the backfield, but this guy can pick up yards after contact and do it with a really impressive fashion, and he's not afraid to bull you over. Muhammad Ibrahim to the Eagles here with the final selection in my final Eagles mock draft. So with that, grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think about this as well as everything else that we talked about on today's show. And we will be live an hour before the draft begins, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe. Turn on your notice. Join us. E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles. Go Birds!